There is a secret hidden for thousands of years. As the master of food and beverage of this place, he will reveal it to you. The world needs to know. His name is Paul Schenk.
Hi, I'm Paul Schenk, and I'm here to introduce you to the world's best kept culinary secret. It's Korean food, also known as hanshik. Got a huge pumpkin here in my hand. Pumpkins are grown widely in Korea, and they're a very popular staple food. Kind of gives my dish away today. Obviously, I'm using the pumpkin. Today, we're going to be making a dish called hobakjuk. Hobakjuk simply means pumpkin porridge. It's a great dish, especially when you've got a cold. I actually have one right now, so it's a good dish to prepare for today. Let's go give it a crack. Okay, so we have our pumpkin ready for the hobakjuk. This is a fully grown pumpkin, and you can hear it. It's a little bit hollow inside, which is good. I've been making pumpkin soup for years, and honestly, this is a very interesting one. Okay, I don't want to use the whole pumpkin, so I just want to use one segment. Hit down the knife, so it's not going to hurt yourself, and then simply pull down on the handle. You can see that, works well. And again, same with the other wedge. Pull down with the handle. It should just come straight out. Look at that. You can see the pumpkin is hollow. Put that to the side. What I want to do is peel the pumpkin bit by bit. Cut down. So you can see with that, all the skin is off. I've got one little tiny piece there. And then we take out the seeds. Again with the knife, or you can use a spoon. Just run the knife through it. Take that out. We've just got flesh of pumpkin left. Cut this up into pieces. About this size is good. Now, to make a really good hobakjuk, you've got to use two types of pumpkin. I've got this one here. This one is very sweet. It's a small green pumpkin. And I'm going to do the same thing. Use one wedge of the pumpkin. This will give the hobakjuk, or the pumpkin porridge, a great flavor. Same thing. Cut through, down, get the skin off. Cut that in half, one little piece. Good, so our pumpkin's ready. Just going to go straight into my boiling water. And to the water, I will add a touch of salt as well. I need to go to the fridge and grab out a couple of things. What are we looking for? Little red beans and some chestnuts. That's good for now. I've got with me some chestnuts. Chestnuts are grown prevalently in Korea, and they store very well. You can eat them as they are, but what I'm going to do with these is chop them up a little bit and boil them quickly for about 5 minutes just to make them soft. I've also got some red kidney beans here that have been soaking in water overnight. We're going to boil them as well just shortly after. So I'll quickly chop up my chestnuts into good pieces. Hobakjuk, or pumpkin porridge, is definitely a vegetarian's delight. Chestnuts, I think for the amount that I made already of the pumpkin, that will be enough chestnuts. Bring over the chestnuts, put them in there, and again, I'm just going to add a pinch of salt to the water. That's good. Okay, so they've been boiling now, the chestnuts, for 5 minutes. You can see the pumpkin's still on the boil. That'll take about 20 minutes. I'm just going to check one to make sure that they're nice and soft. See the colour's changed. They've turned a yellowish colour with the centre core that's a bit dark. It's amazing what the cooking process does. It changes the flavour, changes the texture. They're ready to go. Very yummy. So we'll just put the chestnuts to the side. We'll come back to those guys later as they'll be finishing, well, basically the process of that is done. and they're going to help finish our dish later. I'll put some more water back on the boil for the beans. That's for the beans, we'll bring that to the boil. In the meantime, I've got to prepare chapsal balls. Chapsal means glutinous rice. I'm going to put maybe, I'll use half of this. I'm not going to use all of it. Yeah, just over half a cup. Mix this with boiling water. So I'm going to use the boiling water from the pumpkin. Since I've got some handy, that'll work. And we'll add it bit by bit till we get the right consistency of what I'm after. You can see as soon as that hits the flour, thickens directly. We're going to need quite a bit of water mixed in with this. One more scoop. Okay, I just want to mix that with a spoon, not to burn my fingers. We'll try and get this into a consistency where we can roll it up into balls, a bit like playing with Play-Doh. So we've got the glutinous rice, the rice balls. We want to make them in small little balls. Okay, roll them in the palm of your hand, about that size. You can see that comes up perfectly. It's time to add the beans. Drain off the water. Put the beans into the boiling water. Because they're only small beans, this will take probably no more than 5 minutes. Once again, a touch of salt in there. Just a touch, sprinkling of salt, just to give them full flavour. So far so good, everything's going really well. So I'm just going to pop these into the cornstarch, corn flour. And then I'll find another bowl to put them into. There we go. One after the other. This is just to make sure that they don't stick. And when they're cooking, they'll really cook separately, which is what we're after. One by one. When I finish this, the red beans should be also ready to strain off. These glutinous rice balls will give us another depth of texture and a totally different flavour. Okay, so the red beans are ready. They've been boiling for 5 minutes. Any longer, they get too soft, so we're going to get them out now. We'll take that out, strain them off. Look at that. Now, texture-wise, make sure it's soft enough. You can see that they're not breaking up. They're still holding their shape perfectly, but they're soft enough to easily chew. That's what we're after. So pop them into a bowl. Away we go. I've got to put some more water on now. The water that I'm putting on is for the glutinous rice balls that I just made. Once again, we'll bring that to the boil. In the meantime, the pumpkin's looking good. I'm just going to check it. The knife is going in easily. It's exactly what I want. It's about right there. So I'll just strain this off piece by piece. I actually want to keep the water because I may be using it, well, I will be using it for a couple of other things coming up. Now, pumpkin straight in. You want it nice and moist. You don't want it dried out because it still has to have the texture of a porridge. If I let it sit and the water drains off, it'll be too dry to blend. In it goes. I may need to add some water to that, so I'll have some water ready. It's quite thick. I want to add 1 scoop of water at a time until I get it to the right consistency. We'll try that. Sounds good. Excellent. It's nice and smooth. It's about the right consistency of what I want. Okay, alright, what we'll do is I'll put the pumpkin soup into this pot here with the handle, or the pumpkin porridge. Very thick. I can thin it down to get the right consistency. Look at the texture of that. Okay, glutinous rice balls. The water is boiling. Got the rice balls here. I'm just going to boil them for a couple of minutes. Okay, the sticky rice balls have just gone in. Come on in, Duncan, have a look. You see they're floating? I want to boil them for 5 minutes. They're looking good. I've got some chapsal, or the sticky rice flour here. Add it to the bowl. Just a little. Some cold water. Just like that, you can see. Just a touch. I'm going to mix that together thoroughly. You can see that makes kind of like a glue. So that's ready, looking good. I'm going to have a quick taste of it, just to make sure that I've got the right flavour. Okay, it's good. Needs to be a little bit sweeter. So I'm going to add to this a touch of sugar. Just for a little bit of sweetness. And a little bit more salt, because it just needs a touch more flavour also. A bit more salt, sugar, sticky rice is here. Okay, what we're going to do, when I add this, it will become thick very quickly. And the great thing about rice, the rice flour, is it gives it a texture. It's very clear, so it remains clear, yet thickens it at the same time. Look at that, 2 small scoops so far. I'll have a little bit of a clean up. Oh, my glutinous rice balls are ready. I'll strain them off now. Ready to go. Look like little baby mozzarellas. Put them in. The soup is ready. Oh, sorry, the porridge. I keep calling it soup. It is hobak juk. It's pumpkin porridge. See the texture? The rice balls are in there. Got to give this one final taste to make sure it's good. The texture is perfect. It's so creamy and smooth. Thank you to the chapsal, or the glutinous rice flour, that I added with some water. Ah, it's beautiful. It's just missing a touch more salt and a touch more sugar. So I've got to get it right here. That's salt. So just a touch, and the sugar, a little bit of a dash as well. All right, now earlier I prepared the red beans that I'd been boiling for 5 minutes. I'm going to put them in now. I'll keep a few for garnish on top. This is just the finishing now. The chestnuts that I prepared earlier, I'll put some in, a little bit for the top for the garnish. All right, it's coming to the boil. We'll turn that off. We're ready to plate. I've got 2 dishes next to me. One is a very traditional Korean dish that's used for the porridge. You can see that there. It's a gorgeous porcelain pottery. I'm going to serve it in a bit more of a modern dish today, just so you can see it easily. I'll make sure that I get some of the glutinous rice balls in there, as well as, oh, look at that texture. That texture is spot on. Okay, we'll get a bit more of the pumpkin porridge. Some of the beans. A couple of pieces of chestnuts. Gorgeous. So there we go, we've just uncovered another world best kept culinary secret. This is hobak juk. Hobak is pumpkin, juk is porridge. It's a gorgeous dish, really easy to make. Well, you know, a little bit technical with the balls and everything, but it's a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I love this dish. Hi, I'm Paul Schenk, and I'm here to introduce you to the world's best kept culinary secret. It's Korean food, also known as hanshik. I'm going to cook a dish now that's very interesting. It's called jeonbok juk. John Bock is abalone, juk means porridge. In front of me is this beautiful lobster tank, but I've actually got a couple of abalone. Well, we keep abalone in there. I'm going to take one live one out now. Stand back. Don't bite me, lobster. There we go. One live abalone. I've got to go wash my hands, and then we'll give it a crack. I've got the gorgeous big abalone in front of me. Many people might be asking, what is an abalone? It's crustacean. You can see the big shell. This is a big one. And the actual abalone itself, very hard texture in the center. First thing I have to do is remove it from its shell. This is alive, so you can't get any fresher than this. I'm going to push the spoon, it's a large spoon, just underneath that sucker, nice and hard. Get the rest of it off the other side of the shell, like so. I'll take that out. There we go. So it's come out of the shell. You see the abalone there? It has its intestines here. So what I'm going to do is just take them off. I want to break the seal. Be very careful not to break this sac here. Just pull that off. Actually, I'll cut it off. It's quite tough. Cut that off. Now, on the abalone itself, there's a very hard part right here at the beginning. So I'm just going to cut that straight out. One of the first things that I will do is work with the intestine, because I need to use this as part of our ingredient for the John Bock juk. I'm going to use the end part for the actual preparation of the porridge. Now you can see there's a lot of green colour inside. What I'm going to do now is finely chop this part of it. Duncan, come on in and have a look. You can see the colour that's coming out of this. Finely chop it. And I'll chop this part as well. I want to try and use as much of it as I possibly can. There's a lot of flavour in here. And great texture. We're ready to prepare the abalone. You can see it here. Like I said, very firm flesh. I'm going to slice away from myself. Very thin slices of the abalone. It slices so easily, very easy to work with. Slice that thinly. I'll just take that little end bit off. Now what I'm going to do is slice it kind of like julienne, matchstick sizes. I want that fairly thin. Actually, I might do piece by piece because it's a bit slippery. It's firm, it's crisp. So there we go. That's the abalone finely chopped. Okay, the next step is the rice. I'm just going to grab it out of the fridge. Oh, there we go. The rice has been soaking overnight. It's non-glutinous rice. You can definitely buy this in any good Korean grocer. So that's been soaking overnight. Drain off the liquid. Get all that water out. And what happens is the rice obviously absorbs all that water and makes it a lot faster to cook and much easier to work with. There we go. So the rice is done. Now I'm just going to put a pan on the stove and get it hot, ready for our next step. Okay, so I put the pot on. We obviously need to get the pan nice and hot. It's already quite warm. I've got in front of me some sesame oil. This is the key ingredient for cooking with. As you saw earlier, the drained rice. I've got the abalone that I've prepared and a little bit of the abalone intestine to give it the colour and a bit of a different texture. So, first step, put the sesame oil in. Come on in, Duncan, have a look at this. It's hot. Whoa, it's too hot. Woo, it's smoking. It's all right. I'll put the abalone in. That's what I want. I want it nice and hot. We're going to saute that off quickly. That's good. Great flavour coming from that now. Sesame oil is amazing flavour. I love it. We've got the rice. The rice has been fully drained of its water. Put that in next. So the rice goes in. Come on in, Duncan, we'll have a look. We'll just keep stirring that over the heat until the rice softens a little bit. Just keep mixing that in. Cook that out. It's kind of almost similar to a risotto somehow, but of course the finishing texture is a lot softer and more wet. We're ready to add the intestines. Okay, I'm going to mix this in now, the intestines. Like I said, I didn't want to put all of it in because it does give off a lot of colour. Come in, Duncan, have a look. Look at the colour now, and look at the colour once I mix the intestine. It will go a little bit, it'll definitely go darker, but it will go even a greenish colour. Okay, I think we're just about time to add some water. The rice has already taken on the green colour. Oh, that's nice, really nice. Okay, I'm going to add some water to this now. A couple of cups of water, and again we'll add bit by bit, little by little until we get the right consistency. A little bit more than that, I think, right from the beginning. Now to this, we obviously have to season it or add some salt. Just a touch of seasoning to give it a bit of flavour. Salt needs to go in there. I'll taste it in a minute and we'll see if we need any more. Okay, we're almost there. It's boiling. It's been boiling for about 5 minutes. We added a bit more water to it. The rice has really soaked up and absorbed the water. I'm going to taste this now and just make sure that I've got the seasoning right. Give this a taste. Looks good, color's good, the rice looks good. Ah, gorgeous. Much better. That's really good. So there we have it, abalone porridge. Now, there's one final, I just forgot, there's one final ingredient. All we've got in there so far is abalone, rice, water, sesame oil. I've got some sesame seeds here. I'm just going to crush them in my finger so that they break up and the powder goes through this last minute, right at the last minute. See, that's turned into powder. This gives it a really interesting last flavour, last dash of flavour as well. Texture's great. All right, I'll turn that off. We're ready to serve it. So we'll put the Jongbuk Juk abalone porridge on top. For a garnish, I've got some dried seaweed on top. And of course, when you're eating that, you'll just mix that in. So we've just uncovered another world's best kept secret. This is Jongbuk Juk abalone porridge. Great if you're not feeling well, so I'm going to have a little bowl myself right now, clear up this cold. It's a really easy dish to make and fun. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did.